Are you a parent, grandparent, whatever? Do you share pictures of your loved children, I'm sure you do it with pride, on open social media? I've got to say, I've always found it a little bit weird, actually, when you think of how many perverts are loitering in corners of the internet. Why anyone would want to serve up their children's images to them is beyond me, but anyway, each to their own. Over in France, they're looking at this and they're looking at whether or not it's actually right or wrong for parents to be able to do this. They're looking at whether or not they should have a law which would enshrine a child's right to online privacy. What it would mean is that parents would have a duty to seek their child's consent before posting a picture of them. Bit weird, difficult perhaps if your child's about 3, but anyway. Laurie, your thoughts?
I think if you take kids who have social media accounts, maybe they're a bit older than the ones we're referring to here, they know to be cautious about what they post online because it could have consequences for them now and into the future. And I just think that parents should have a similar consideration in mind, that they balance their immediate desire to maybe post their kids at their birthday party or whatever with what that could mean into the future, of what their digital footprint is for the kid who may not be able to make that choice at that moment into the future. And I think that many parents are sensible enough and clued up enough at the risks of online behaviour that they probably try to make that balance in their minds, or I hope they would. Do
you? So you think that a lot of if so many parents are clued up and all the rest of it when it comes to social media, why do so many parents not take one iota of interest of what their children are doing on their phones? It blows my mind how many parents don't check the phones of their kids.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they're clued up on it, right? I hope that parents, when their kids are too young maybe to make the choice, are aware that images that go online could exist there for the long term, and that kid, when they're older, might be a bit annoyed that certain things are put online. So it's just another dimension of parenting now that we have to consider, that what we do to look after kids, their health and well-being and so on, has this extra digital dimension to it.
Indeed. Toby?
Yeah, I got into trouble for posting a picture of one of my sons on World Book Day, in which you go to school as your favourite book character.
Yeah.
And he went as Goldilocks, and my wife dressed him as Goldilocks from The Three Bears. And he was about 8, 9 at the time. And now if you Google his name, that is the first thing that pops up. And people think he's like... I got so attacked for it by people who thought that I had a trans child and I was kind of virtue signalling about it. I put it on Twitter, yeah,
right.
Which was, I think, a mistake in retrospect. I suppose because I thought my wife had done such a great job of dressing him up as Goldilocks.
I mean, the rule.
I don't think the state should be intervening in family life in this way. You're not going to encourage parents to become more responsible by prohibiting them, by law, from posting pictures of their kids on social media. It seems like overreach by the French state if it does indeed become a law. I mean, the rule in our household is, since the kids have reached the age of 12, I've got 4 kids, they're all teenagers, if you want to post a picture of them on social media, you have to get their permission. And that seems like a reasonable rule. Though I did have one difficulty. I'm friends with Rachel Johnson. I was at university with her, and she once told my kids that the rule in her household was that if she ever wanted to write about her kids in a column, she had to pay them £75. And ever since then, whenever I write about my kids, my kids present me with a bill.
What an obscure sum to reach, £75. I wonder how she came up with that figure, but that is nonetheless a fascinating fact. Do you... so your kids are what, 12?
No, they're 14, 15, 18 and 19.
Cool, blimey, you're a busy man. Do you check their phones, the younger ones, not the 18-year-old, obviously, the younger ones?
No, I don't check their phones, no.
Why? So you have a 12-year-old, does he have or she have a smartphone?
I've got a 14-year-old, my youngest is 14 and he's a boy, and yeah, he has an iPhone, and it's password protected. I don't check it. I do follow him on Instagram, but I suspect that what some kids do is they have like an official Instagram account which they share with their parents, then they have an unofficial one which they don't tell their parents about.
So help me understand, I'm not judging your parenting, it's none of my business, but don't you get concerned about what your 14-year-old is up to on his phone, people that have access to him?
I think he's just tweeting about, posting about QPR for the most
Well,
part.
I'm not, I don't know, I dread to think what I'll be like with my kid. To me, this whole world of the internet and the risk that exposes your children to, there is a report that suggests that 50% of the photographs exchanged on child pornography forums initially had been posted by parents on their social media accounts. I take real issue, by the way, with this phrase, child pornography. There is no such thing, it's not possible that there is a such thing as child pornography. A child cannot make porn. So what you're actually looking at is imagery or videos of child abuse. And if you look at these things, what you're actually viewing is a crime scene. So the sooner we can get rid of that phrase, child pornography, for me, the better. Let's call it what it is, child abuse, and let's also call it what it is, a crime scene. That's what I say. If you are a parent that does share imagery of your children quite proudly, widely on the internet, get in touch and tell me, do you not worry about it? David says, I think posting pictures of your child on the internet without their permission is absolutely wrong, especially if you're doing it to get clicks and make money, as many people do. David says, really, people really should think carefully before doing this, because no matter how loving the pictures are, they can be used by others, peers and predators to exploit the situation. You lose all control, he says, once these images hit the public domain. Yes, you are right. Philip says, for once, France has got it right. The least amount of information you put on social media about yourself or your kids, the better. George says, what a strange world we live in. You can't post pictures on your kids online because of so-called perverts, but you can take your kids to drag Queen Story Hour. Hey, George, do not even get me started on Drag Queen Story Hour, because that is a whole other section. I could do a whole show on it. Why on earth grown men want to dress in sexualised outfits for the enjoyment of children is absolutely beyond me. But anyway, like I say, don't even get me started on that one.